Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to say that inflation is hammering Hoosiers, but I have to say, after being in the district, that the inflation in this country is a flat out disgrace. There's no way to try to blame this or switch this on anything other than this administration's policies. I cannot believe every week at the grocery store and the gas pump. I mean, these aren't just stories. This is the American people, and they are so fed up with it. And they're transmitting that to us as urgently as they can. But I just have to say that I've never seen anything like what's happening in this economy. Inflation at a 40-year peak continues to spiral out of control. Gas in my district went to $5.25 a gallon, which is an absolute disgrace. Increasing prices on gas and everyday necessities are hurting Hoosiers, to say the least. And I can just tell you, increasing prices on gas and everyday necessities are hurting everybody in this district, from seniors to working people who can barely afford on a fixed income, our seniors, to be forced to choose between food and fuel. The administration's policies have given us climbing gas prices, persistent supply chain bottlenecks, workforce shortages, and surging inflation. The need for relief has never been greater. But the question I have, Secretary Yellen, in order to provide inflation relief to America's manufacturers, small business, and consumers, I, along with many of my colleagues on this committee, have pushed for a robust Section 301 exclusion process, which the Trump administration implemented for the majority of the time the Section 301 tariffs were in place. I have seen your recent comments and understand that you are reviewing the existing Section 301 tariffs. Can you provide additional insight into the administration's review of Section 301 tariffs and if a more robust exclusion process is under consideration?
Those things are under consideration. You know, this administration inherited a set of 301 tariffs imposed by the Trump administration that I think really weren't designed to serve our strategic interests. China certainly is, I think, guilty of unfair trade practices we need to protect against, ensure our national security, that our supply chains are secure and resilient, and their policies need to make sure that they address that. But so I believe some of the tariffs did not serve, really ended up being paid by Americans, not by the Chinese, hurt American consumers and businesses, and we are taking a look at those and looking to be able to address, to reconfigure those tariffs in a way that would be more strategic. So that is something where—
And do we have any kind of a timeline, Madam Secretary? Is there any kind of a timeline as to where we can have an additional conversation on that?
I think in the coming weeks, we expect— I can't give you a firm timeline, but with respect to the exclusion process and tariffs, that's something that's under active consideration.
Thank the gentlelady.
Thank you.
Let me recognize the gentlelady from California.